Hello and welcome back to Colours of Nature Art. Well, we are now on to the last 3 pages of Dephemerember, and then after that there will just be showing you the cover, which I'm halfway through making. I'm making a soft cover this year, which I've not done before, so that's something new, so I'm not sure yet how that's going to turn out. And then I hope to do the final flip through of the journal around the same time that Luise does hers, which I think is sort of around the 17th of January. So we'll start off with the mechanical garden. And if I come in a little bit. So I made the background, as you can see, that was using distress oxides, and you can just see there are some little cogs. If I lift it up you might see a bit better. There's a little cog up there, and then down here these were also cogs. I don't know if this is going to come out, but it actually looks like little flower petals. So that was sort of a happy accident. And I did all the, as you can tell, it's a double tag a mechanical garden. And the tags, obviously, as you can see, I have used distress oxide inks. And I didn't want to do too much on the first page because I just love the oxidation and the way that page looked. So inside we have the mechanical garden. There we go, I think that's just about in focus. So to start with, down here I put some nuts that I'd found, so that's like a planter. I used soldering wire to make the stems of the plants, and then these little flowers, they're sort of mechanical bluebells hanging down. They were what was at the centre of, on this side of the page, mini clothes pegs. And put a little beetle down here. Up here we've got the where the trees are all hanging down. There's some chains and a little dragonfly up at the top. And then on this side you can see I've made a gate. That was a buckle, and then I put some wire behind it, split the pegs to make a little fence. So you go out of the garden, which is there, out of the garden, and there's a little garden gate, and then you're out in the countryside. And this sort of represents all these cogs here. They're bushes either side, little butterfly at the top, and then this is possibly the sun hanging up here. And I didn't want to do anything in the centre of this one, because the way the oxidization of the inks happened, it actually gives this perspective. You've got a little hill there, and then it looks as though you can go off into the distance on a lovely country walk. So that was my take on a double tag and mechanical garden. So what other page do I have? The next one was, where's my prompt list? I get muddled with there's so many different prompts here. That was the envelope flip and a secret love letter. So let's put that page out of the way. And I have to take the camera back out a bit, or you won't see much. There we go. Well, for this one, I'd sort of gone for a walk in the woods, and I came across something. It was quite camouflaged, as you can see. Says she, as more bits drop out of. And I found this, and it's like a little envelope flip, so I was quite curious and I wondered what was in it. And inside was a little letter, tiny little letter in tiny little writing, and I realised it was something that Katie Country Mouse had written. So I think the best person to read this is Katie herself. And here she is. And if you don't like cute, and I was reading something on Luise's channel the other day where people were saying that they didn't like Effie and they didn't do cute. So there's a cute warning coming up. But if you do like cute, then I think you're going to melt with this one. So I've wanted to animate Katie for a long time. So a very short clip of Katie reading her secret love poem to Effie.
In the moonlit glade I hide, a secret love I can't confide, a creature strange from worlds afar. You are my love, you are my star. In the night I dream of you, a love so strange and yet so true. It is a dream we'll never share, because I'm from here and you're from there.
Well, I think after that I had better put this back into the envelope that I found it in, and we'll put the paper clip on the top of that, and she's got a little love heart on her dingle dangle, and I'm going to put that back into my envelope flip out. There we go. Pop her in there. I can do it without all the bits dropping off as usual. There we are. I'll pop that back in. She's got a little bit of moss so nobody notices where the closure is. And so that was my take on the envelope flip out and secret love letter. And then my last page, which is mixed media tag and urban graffiti. So here we are. This is my urban wall, and I decided to put it opposite this page here because if you remember, this was the building plans that my great grandfather used to build a house in around 1901. I don't think the Victorians had graffitied walls. Not sure, but we've certainly got a graffiti wall here. And I decided to do a sort of Banksy sort of feel to my wall. And the reason it's got lots of colours on it, as you probably know, when people have put graffiti onto a wall and then the council come along and then they try to rub it all off and they only get part of it off. So then you get the colour left from the previous artist, and the next one comes along, puts something on the top of it, and so it goes on. So you end up with a very multicoloured wall. And I put 2024 on there because this is sort of the final prompt. But I also did a second wall, which is this one. And I think it says Luise was here. Now, whether this is the Luise, our Luise Heinzl, or it could well be another Louise, we don't know, but I think a very telling sign is the graffiti she left here. And you can see here, this does resemble Tim Holtz, don't you think? Which, considering the situation with Tim now that he's no longer designing products, although he'll still be doing makes and we'll still be able to watch him demonstrate, but I think Louise was quite upset, and this was the weekend when she was really upset, and she went out and she found a wall, and it's art, it's a lovely art form. Now, as is my usual situation, when I first read it, I thought, oh yes, urban graffiti, that's fine. And then halfway through I thought, hang on, I'm sure there's supposed to be something other than urban graffiti. So yes, there was, and it was a mixed media tag. So I thought I'd already done the page. So I just put a little hole in the top. So we can call it a tag, I think, because of that. And then I thought, well, is it mixed media? And the more I looked at it, the more mixed media I realised it was. So if I put that to one side and come out, no, other way, there we go. And I realised just how much media I had used. I actually wanted to use some crackle paste here. And when I opened it, because I don't use crackle paste that often, and it had turned brown. And it had not only turned brown, the smell was diabolical. So that went straight in the rubbish bin. And I thought, well, what can I use instead? So I had a rummage around and I came up with this, which is Winsor & Newton sand texture gel. It weighs a ton. I think it's because of the sand in it. And that does give a very, if I put it that way. No, there's going to be a disaster. I already had a gesso disaster 2 years ago. It's surprising how far gesso can go. And then, of course, I use gesso. I always use gesso, mainly. What else did I use? I used some Winsor & Newton acrylic white paint. So you can see the mixed media is mounting up. We had Distress Oxide peeled paint, vintage photo, and black soot, and archival black ink. And as well as that, we had some salvage patina, Distress Oxide paint. There was shabby shutters and antique linen, and then crafter's paint, which was it's sort of nice peach colour. I don't think it hasn't got a name. I've had it for ages. So I used that. Then I used the Liquitex modelling paste to do sort of all the brickwork. What else? There was a bit of Liquitex paint, and I used my big Stabilo. Or is this the Stabilo one? No, I've got a Stabilo. This is the Faber-Castell. They're basically the same, big, thick, watercoloured pencils. And I used my Inktense one, the Derwent, and that's bark. We haven't finished. We're still going. Then I used my gouache paints. So there was some out of that one. I'm running out of room here. And there was my second tin of gouache. I used some colours out of that. There was the rice paper, which was how I made the girl and the rose from that. And then finally, my chalk pastels, which, as you can see, they're very, very well used, and they probably need a bit of organising. So by the time I'd finished all of this, I thought, I don't think I have to worry whether or not it's mixed media, because it obviously is mixed media. So I'll just clear the decks a bit and then we can get on. So my next thing to do is the cover. Yeah, I know I'm slow in doing my cover, and it involves sewing, and as you probably guessed, sewing is not my forte. I'm more of a glue girl myself, but there we go. I have to make a cover, and the reason I can't use glue this time, or not all the glue, is because I'm attempting a soft cover, which I haven't done before. But you can see it's starting to be, it's quite a chunky journal. And then there's just something a little different at the end of this video. I'm going to just put up a few photos of behind the scenes of me making some of the latest pages that you've seen today. And if you like those, then maybe I could show you a few more of the back scene views of making some of these pages, because as you know, I can't film in the art room because there's just not enough room. Sadly, at the moment, until I can find a way of maybe having a slightly bigger space out there. and then you can come and join me in the art room, and I'm sure we'll have lots of fun. But for now, I'll be back hopefully fairly soon with the cover and the final flip through. And I think Luise is doing her final flip through. I think it's the 17th of January or somewhere around there. So I hope to be back at a similar time. Well, once again, thank you for watching, and here's some behind the scenes clips. Bye bye.